That's right. Hello, brother George. How are you today?
Hello, brother John. I'm great. And I'm great even though you know where we are,
Yeah,
right in the middle of the coming hurricane.
Hurricane Milton,
We live in Central Florida.
hurricane party.
We're so close to Disney World. We could get dressed, get in our car, go buy our tickets, and get inside before 30 minutes are up. We're close,
We are close. Yeah,
that
yeah.
close. So that gives you a good idea where we are. The hurricane has hit the western coast,
Landfall. It made landfall. That's right.
and we're getting some rain and we're getting some wind. All we hear is ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like Halloween out there.
Hmm.
But we are not seeing the heavy winds yet or
Yeah.
the heavy rains. Although we're hearing reports of it, we have relatives in St. Pete's, and they've been giving us updates. And so hopefully we'll still be here tomorrow. But if you hear in the news that Disney World is washed away,
We went with
we
it. Yeah,
probably
we
went with
went
it.
with it. Yeah,
But in the meantime, we're here for a more important reason:
that's right.
the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills.
And John,
Yeah, it's George.
they played a game last week,
They did.
and never even got upset with it because we called it, but they were going to lose the game. We knew it, and they did exactly what we said they would do. They can't come off a bad win and get organized and come back and win. They're just not that kind of team. It takes them time to work out the kinks. I said they wouldn't score 20 points, that they would score 17, but they did score 20. I think you said they were going to score 20. So good for you. Credit to you. But at the same point, we were both right. They were going to lose this game, and they did. They
They
did.
lost.
But I don't know how you feel about it, but I thought it was actually two different games, the first half and the second half.
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't feel that.
I thought, like in the first half, we couldn't move the ball and we couldn't stop them. And they riled up what, 17 points in the first half, Houston.
Hmm.
And did we have three in the first half or did we have anything? It was pretty low.
Okay.
But then in the second half, Nico Collins was out for the Texans.
Hmm.
And without that big, fast receiver, all of a sudden the Texans weren't the same team. And Buffalo's defense, even with all the substitutions they have from the injuries, they were able to handle the Texans in the second half and gave up, I think, only 3 points. The Texans got to 20, didn't they? Or 23. They got to 23. And so Buffalo's defense really handled them what they did when they did not have that big wide receiver in there. Is Diggs a number one wide receiver? Maybe not anymore, but that Nico Collins sure is. And
Yeah.
he played well in that first half, and then he got injured. Now he's on the injured reserve list, we hear. So he's
Yeah.
out for at least 4 more weeks.
Yeah.
But in that second half, the Bills' offense, which was a disaster in the first half, was still pretty bad in the second half, but they figured out how to run the ball. And they got down and they were able to put a couple of drives together and make it a close game. They made it competitive.
They did. Yeah, they tied it up, and they did tie it up, and they had an excellent chance to, you know, try to win it in overtime, but they
That's why I'm using my Buffalo Bills mug today and not my what's going on, and not my Three Stooges mug because I think as poor as they played better than I thought they would. And that's not saying much because they did not play well. God, that offensive line for the Bills was so bad.
yeah. All right. So look, I think the Houston played. They got caught with their number one, Nico Collins. He got hurt on that touchdown score, and he left the game pretty much after that. They really weren't quite the same without him.
No.
However, it was very reminiscent in my mind of the Bills without Stefan Diggs.
Okay.
Both teams got to figure out what the heck they're going to do now, and on the fly, they weren't quite able to figure that out. They really depended on him.
When Nico Collins was out, their young quarterback, Stroud, was vulnerable. He was holding on to the ball. He wasn't getting the guys open. They were getting to him. They were getting pressure on him. He was not the same quarterback in the second half without his big wide receiver. And it shows that if Buffalo can control the wide receivers, they can get the quarterbacks. But we'll see going forward.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, look, I think you and I saw slightly different games. The Bills were bad. The offense was bad. The defense was bad. Special teams were okay. They were just
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's not much like they. You said they got the running game, but they got almost nothing going. They had one big pass play which got up downfield, and then they were able to score a touchdown. And that actually happened twice. They had two big plays which got them into the red zone twice, and twice able to score. Other times they couldn't move the ball. They were just bad.
Well, let's talk about some of that bad play. That the bad play was really on the passing offense for the Bills. Josh Allen
Well,
had
hold on.
so much pressure in
They
his.
were bad running as well. Well, they were bad running. They were bad passing. And this is all because of the offensive line. I'm with you. The offense was a big part of it, but they couldn't move anybody on the runs either.
Okay. Well, the Bills being a passing
What's
offense,
his name? Cook didn't even get 50 yards in the game, the whole game. So there's no running attack. There's no passing attack. They had nine completions. Nine. They're just bad. It was bad all the way around.
how many times did they try throwing to the guy with no shoes? Hollis.
Then the guy with no shoes is their number two receiver. He's supposed to be able to like that's who he's supposed to throw it to.
And quite frankly, he's not very good.
No, no, he's not. But he's their number two. Like that's what they got.
And Coleman, he couldn't get open. He
Yeah,
couldn't
no,
do
no,
anything.
right, right, right.
Scanling,
He had a beautiful touchdown run. He got a catch, a contested catch, and a touchdown run. That was a play. He made a play. I'm with you there.
mhm,
That was the score, and that was a big like that was a quarter of their offense
yeah,
with
yeah.
that one catch.
You watch it like in the all 22, these guys cannot separate. And we saw Cover One did one about how Joe Brady's offense was being figured out by the Houston's defense, and they just shut him down with man to man coverage, and none of the pick plays or rub plays that the Bills like to run. The guys were so inept on Buffalo and doing their job, they couldn't get anybody open. Josh Allen was just throwing to try anything. He was so inaccurate, but really had nobody open. He had to be a little inaccurate just not to get picked off.
Well, and that's where like look, a ball doesn't go to the receiver. You often say quarterback's not accurate. I hear you. A ball goes just beyond the receiver's reach. Oh, he's not accurate. But these receivers are so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they were where they were supposed to be.
How many times
You
you
know, I
see guys
just
running like this and then
well,
going around like, I don't know where am I supposed to, where's the ball? They couldn't find the ball, couldn't
Wallace
track it.
in particular could not track the balls.
Yeah.
Has seemed to have no clue how to adjust his run to a ball that's in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kincaid was wide open for a touchdown. Now the ball is thrown and he's got to reach back as he's running for it. The problem is now, and so it looks like, hey, that ball's underthrown. Defensive linebacker smacks it away. The problem is that we've seen Kincaid not be able to catch the ball when it's thrown over his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your only option. Now, it certainly comes across like an underthrown ball, and it kind of is, but it also is the only pass that he can. That's the only pass he can catch that far downfield. He is not the player anyone thought he was.
No.
Anyone.
Yeah.
He is not. He was like he's got that first round tab on his back because he was picked in the first round. Not only is he not living up to that, he is not a guy like if you put him on a in a wide receiver room He in a five-man wide receiver room, he's the sixth.
Yeah,
Now, not our wide receiver room because we don't have we don't have NFL quality players in there. So he might be the third best receiver on the team, but he's not good
John.
either.
What about Curtis Samuel? What a waste of time
And money.
and money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you say, they pay him $8 or $9 million. They go like, that's not much for a receiver. That's a cheap receiver.
It's an expensive receiver. Yeah.
And he played.
He's stealing the money right now.
He's stealing the money.
Yeah.
The guy cannot get open. He catches a ball. The Bills can't block for him. He gets nailed 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He tries to get open 2 yards in front of the line of scrimmage when there's four guys standing around him. And it's just like he's got no sense of the play. I don't know what he's doing. I really don't know.
I had heard someone before this week mention that some of the plays out of the backfield that they thought maybe he would be good at. Really, they've got Cook running them, and so they don't need him to do those because Cook is really good at it, and that's fine. But boy, that really means that he can't as an outside receiver, he can't get any kind of separation. He he's just runs it like a dummy route. He's just out there for show.
Well, it got to make you wonder what Bean was thinking when he went and got him. How were they going to use him? Were they going to use him as a wide receiver on the outside, and Shakir was going to be the slot? Or were they thinking he was going to be the slot and Shakir could be on the outside?
Well,
as it turns out, they've got Shakir running on the slot the whole time.
Well,
and this guy doesn't seem to get open doing anything.
Well, if he had plays also coming out of the backfield, then he could play 15 to 20% of the snaps in the slot, and Shakir could get the other 75. And that might be a nice combination for the two. Because if you are running Shakir 100% of the plays, I don't think he's going to last. Now that's just me. I don't know. But if you've got somebody that's also rotating with them, plus in this game they went 4 and 5 wide receivers a number of times, so that would be opportunities for what's his name, but Samuel to play the other slot, right? So there's plenty of opportunities there's plenty of times when they can put him in slot, but he's not producing.
Did they think Coleman was going to be on one side and Valdez-Scantling on the other side, and they were going to have Shakir in the slot and then use their tight ends? The tight ends aren't getting open.
Well,
nobody's getting open.
To answer your question, I don't believe that they thought Valdez-Scantling would be a starter.
Okay.
So no, I don't think so. I don't see how they could. He hasn't been a starter since before he left Green Bay. Like he had a couple of good years in Green Bay, but he wasn't a starter there when they let him walk. And he wasn't a starter for Kansas City either. He was a situational guy. So no, I think they picked Hollis on one side and then probably Curtis Samuel on the other. And then Keon Coleman would occasionally go in as these guys needed breaks and for packages and whatnot. Coleman would get his reps, but it wouldn't have to be a lot of reps. He's a rookie, so 25% of the snaps, even 30% of the snaps would be good. Would be good for him. Maybe if he excels, he might take over one of those positions. But he's not ready for either. He's really not ready for anything yet. He's a little over his head. He made a great play, but he can't play with consistency. Right. Hollis is the one most consistent receiver outside of Shakir. Shakir's injured. So right now, Hollis is their most consistent receiver in snaps and consistent in. I think he does run the routes the way they're expected to be runs. He has a problem with catching the ball. Well, I think he really is a blocking wide receiver. But I said to George during the game, when Robert Woods and Watkins were the two starters for the Bills many, many years ago, these passes that Hollis is struggling with, you could depend on Woods to make that catch.
Yeah, you could.
He would be your number two. The way they did it would be Watkins would be a number one, but he ran all the routes. But in particular, he was very good at outside the numbers and deep threat. And then you still had Woods who would scoop up the others, and you could really depend on him on a third down,
Mhm.
right? That's fine. He could run your slants, he could go inside, outside, but you could depend on him on third round. And he blocked. He was a really good blocker. I'm not saying that is a negative way. A very good blocker. Uh, Alice is a poor, poor, poor man's Robert Woods. And ironically, Robert Woods is on the other sideline. I don't know that he still is what he once was, but he can't even break into their starting lineup
Mhm.
or their lineup. He barely gets any offensive plays. He plays special teams for them. He's hanging on by playing special teams. And he probably is still, even though he can't break into their
He's probably
starting line,
better than anybody we
he's
got
probably
other than
better than Hollis
Shakir.
right now. Yeah. Well, he might be better than Shakir. Like he's definitely better when Shakir's injured.
Mhm.
And I think that availability is going to be a Shakiri thing. Now he didn't show that last year, but he didn't play all the snaps he's getting this year. So now that he's having to play, boom, 4 games injured. We don't know how long he's gonna be out for.
How about the defensive side? You want to hear what I think? Besides,
Please.
okay, Cole Bishop, our number 2 pick.
Mm-hmm.
They got him in there because
They
starting
have
safety's
injuries. Yeah,
down,
injuries.
second safety's down. They're down to rookie play. And when he's up in the box and it's a running play, he can tackle. But when he has to go back into coverage right now,
He's a liability.
he's a liability. He gets fooled on any motion or any fake handoff or any play action. And he's just running around like, oh, where's the ball? Where's the ball? It's sad to see. And I know he's a rookie, but other rookies play better than that. I like he's not ready. He's not ready. And
Yeah.
we're using him because we have to. And I'm like, here's the second pick that we made, and he's so far from being ready. I'm like, would your number 2 pick normally be that that unprepared to play? Wouldn't you think a number 2 pick should be close to being ready to play?
The only answer I could give you is it kind of is on this team. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
Bernard looked the same way last year, different position, but he looked wildly in over his head. Dwayne Williams looked wildly over his head in this first year.
Mm-hmm.
At least Bernard looks good this year.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what defensive starter have they drafted and been able to come in and play? Like Rousseau got a bunch of. He did get a bunch of opportunities his first year, but he wasn't much of a player.
I'll tell you what, I'm kind of impressed. They let this kid, Dwayne Carter, play, our rookie nose defensive tackle.
Mhm.
And I thought he did a good job.
I did too.
I thought he was in on a number of tackles. He got some pressures. I thought he did pretty well. And
He
then
was a pleasant surprise. Yes, he
and
was.
they rotated in Javon Solomon, and the few times he was in there, I thought he put some pressure on. I thought he showed some promise. No, he's not ready to be the starting defensive end, but I thought he looked like
Well, hold
good
on.
youth.
I he's a veteran.
No, not Smoot.
Oh, not Smooth. Oh,
No,
I got him confused with Smooth. Okay.
Javon Solomon,
Okay.
rookie.
Okay. Well, great.
If
I
I
hope
said
you're right.
Smoot,
No, no,
that's a
no.
mistake.
You didn't. You didn't. Sorry, I had him backwards. Great. If he does, like, it was one game for both of those guys. It was one game, but it was nice to see.
But
It
again,
was
I
nice to
didn't
see.
feel the pressure out of Rousseau.
No,
He's not giving me what I think. We're not seeing
Epinesa.
anything out of Epinesa. Nothing
Epinesa.
out of Epinesa. Um, what's his name? The nose tackle,
Daquan Jones.
Delquan Jones.
Listen, before the season started, I think on one of our videos, like, look, Daquan Jones is what he is. He had four in his entire career. He had 4 good games.
Mm-hmm.
It was the beginning of last year. Then,
Yeah,
unfortunately for him, he got hurt. That was not
that
only
was
was
his
that
career.
his ceiling. That's the best he's ever played. He's never played like that previously. It was foolish to think he would return to that when it really was never not who he is.
And then this kid,
The Bills tried to sign a different defensive tackle. the guy decided to stay with his home with his original team. So
Well,
other loss.
Carter's really more of a replica of Ed Oliver
Mhm.
and that kind of a play. So I don't know if we're going to see them next to each other or just one backing up the other.
Well, sometimes on passing downs, like they take Daquan is a two down
Mhm.
defensive tackle. He's really there to stop the run. We really enjoyed those 4 games when the team, like maybe they'd pass on first down, he was getting pressure.
Mhm.
And so uh, it was nice to see. It was exciting. I was excited for him, but then he got injured, and that was it. But you will sometimes see them use 2, 3 techniques
Mhm.
on passing downs, like second and long, third and long. So we might see a little bit more Carter now that they've gotten a flash of what they think he's shown a little bit what he could do. We'll have to see. He may have also just been taking advantage of the second string guard.
What
So we'll just have to see how
you
that
want
works
to
out.
you want to grade the offense?
Sure, see.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think a C is a good one. They were not very good, especially in the first half. I thought they improved some in the second half, although we showed that we do not have the offensive line we thought we had, and we've got some issues at receiver. We need Shakir back. So I think a C is probably fair. How about
I'll even go so far as to say, look, a lot of times you and I have a disagreement about like this whole complementary football.
Mhm.
Because I'm saying, like, look, it really doesn't matter if the offense goes in and out, 3 downs and out every series for 6 series in a row. Because if the defense gives up drives, that's entirely on them.
Mhm.
The only reason that's my philosophy. Yeah, so, but if you're gonna have complementary football, part of that is the defense getting 3 and outs and getting turnovers. Sometimes even giving your offense a short field. It goes both ways. And in the second half, the defense did that.
Yeah.
They did. They got 2 turnovers, didn't they? And they got an interception and a fumble, I think, from the recovery. They also did a couple of 3 and outs in that second half. They did play better. They get a solid C.
Okay. How about the defense?
Oh wait, did you give your score?
Yeah, I said I agreed with you. C
Okay.
was good. How about the defense?
No, that's the defense. They gave him a
Oh,
solid
that
C.
was the defense.
Yeah.
Okay. So the defense again, it's a C, I think is fair. I mean, they played poor in the first half, they played better in the second half, but it shows that we got to get our starters back. We're at the point we were at the end of last year going into the playoffs that we were relying on second and third stringers, and we're there again. We never got any better. So I think a C is fair against the Texans.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah. They were heading both sides of the ball were heading to lower scores.
Hmm.
Um, the offense found a way to put 20 points on the board. They had a little help from the defense with
Hmm.
some by getting because of the turnovers and because of the 3 and out, like that 3 and out, it's like they got an extra possession.
Hmm.
And if you only get three possessions a half, it can be tough for an offense to get going.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
I'm watching
Oh.
Stanton just hit a home run.
All right, so we got the Yankee game on. We're watching the playoffs. So do you have a special teams grade?
Special team, I'm going to give them a B.
Wow, yeah, I am too.
They didn't mess up. That's about what I can say. They didn't screw up. They didn't have any bad punts, any bad um, point after attempts or missed field goals. Everybody seemed to know their job. They were on the field at the right time. There was never any too many men on the field. They did okay. It was a solid performance
Yeah.
on the
There was
special
nothing
teams.
particularly special, nothing that stood out,
Hmm.
nothing that you could hang a hat on and say that was a great kick or a good run back or that. So A's off the table because they didn't actually do anything that stood out.
Right.
But I think a C would be too low because they had 2 field goals, they made them. They made the 2 point after attempts. A lot of times on kick returns, the ball's kicked into the out of the end zone. When Kydrick had an opportunity to return it, he returned it out to the 30. When they kicked, they didn't give up any big returns that I recall. So yeah, but a B is fine.
John, something new. Let's talk about how would you grade the coaching in this game?
Well, I think it would be fair to fire the offensive coordinator. I
Okay.
mean, I know that they won't, and it's too small a sample size to give up on him, but this team doesn't have enough talent in the receiver positions across the board to go just the other team's playing man, so we're just gonna run a route and let our guy beat the other guy. They can't do that. And he did not scheme anybody open. Like before the Baltimore game, I warned our viewers that they now have a couple of games. They have three games on tape for the defense to study. They studied it, and Baltimore shut them down. But there might have been a feeling that that was just Baltimore. They're a good defensive team. They're they're uniquely designed to take advantage of what the Bills are weak at. Fine. Houston then had four games where they could study, and they shut it down. It took halftime for them to figure out anything, and they never really got any kind of reliable passing game. They had nine completions for the game. Stephon Diggs, all by himself, had more yards than the Bills' entire offense, receiving offense. So I don't know where he goes from here, but he had no answers in this game. And the way this team is built, everybody's gonna eat.
Yeah, everybody's gonna eat. I don't know what they're gonna eat. They're gonna eat spaghetti and meatballs.
He has to be able to come up with plays to get guys open, whether it's playing against man or zone, because they don't have the skill to do it. That's just the way it is. There's nobody
What
on
about the head coaching? When you look at the end of the game, there 20 something seconds left. The Bills got the ball deep in their own zone. Texans have three timeouts, and we decide to do three pass plays that are incomplete. And Texans never had to use a timeout. And we punted to them, and they had all their timeouts and were able to move into scoring position, kick a field goal. If we would have ran the ball, would have forced the Texans to use their timeouts. Then they would have got the ball back with no timeouts and not had enough time to move into position to kick a field goal and goes into overtime. What in the heck do you think that if that was McDermott's call, what the heck was he thinking?
Well, I got two answers for you.
Okay, how about him?
If he said, listen, guys, our goal here is to get a first down
Mm-hmm.
so that we can then kneel down and get overtime. Joe Brady ran the plays he thought would get him a first down. And so all you talk about how they were running better in the second half, he did not feel he could run against this team to get a first down. If the idea was to get a first down, he did not feel he could get a first down on three tries.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't give any consideration to making him use the timeouts. He was trying to get that damn first down. And that was what he's got. I think maybe it's fair to fire, like to be upset with McDermott, but his decision in the summer to not bring in a real offensive coordinator is the problem. So
Well,
I don't know what to tell you. Like this team, you could run three times into the wall, but when you punt, they have no timeouts, but they have more time on the clock.
I guess where I'm going with this is yes, we do not have all the players that are as talented as we'd like to have, but we still do have some talented players. But we're having coaching issues and general manager picking issues.
Well, you asked me about McDermott. You didn't ask about.
I know, but I'm saying we're having coaching issues and we're even having some general manager issues. And I think there's a real problem in the office at Buffalo Stadium.
Look, you're preaching to the choir. I've been telling you that McDermott and Bean are not in the right spot.
Mhm.
They they've gone with this team as far as they can.
Mhm.
They've taken them as far as they can. They've made decisions that have not helped this team get better. If I don't know where whatever year you want to start, they went, they took this team, or this team went to an AFC championship game against Kansas City The very next year, they lost in a divisional game against Kansas City. They might have been better that second year, but because of coaching, on field coaching decisions and incompetence, they gave away any chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
13 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And before that, and before that, so the last minute and a half, like once we give up the ball, it all goes bad. So look, um, but from that point, I think that was 22. Every team they fielded has not been as good.
Mhm.
That was the peak of the McDermott being couple, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's been their peak.
Well, I'll tell
And
you
we
that
are now a couple of years from that, and it's only gotten worse.
the last minute clock management issues and decision making ability, no matter what players we have, because our players have changed every year over the last 5 years. We always change some players, but the coaching remains the same at the top, and that's McDermott. And we continuously have this last minute where we can't either manage the clock or figure out what we should be doing, what plays we should be calling to manage the clock. Whether it's getting the special teams on the field, whether it's setting the defense, whether it's how we're going to run out the clock. We can't figure that out. And that comes down to the head coach, in my opinion.
He's at 8 years. He's too experienced to still be making these
Right.
on field
The first time you're going to watch the
knucklehead.
tape, you're going to learn from it. We've heard that. It's too late. He's not going to learn from it now. He's got a cabbage head. My new, I'm taking away the cabbage head designation against Josh Allen, which I've done for a number of years, calling him a cabbage head, right? And I've reassigned it now. It's now McDermott is the cabbage head, not Josh Allen. It's McDermott. Cabbage head McDermott. Well, anyway, let's go on to next week's game. On Monday night, the Bills are going to New York Jets.
Yep. Yep. Long trip. Take a whole hour in the air. All right. You got any thoughts?
I do. I feel totally different the Bills playing the Jets than I do playing a playoff team like Houston. I really don't think the Bills are going to have that much trouble against the Jets. I think they're going to get their stuff figured out. I think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Jets. I do think they're going to be able to go back to this throwing the dump off passes to Cook. They need to get that going again. And I don't know if Shakir will be back or not, but I think we'll be seeing more of Coleman in this game. I've been calling for it every week, but I think we're going to see it. I feel much better about the Bills against a team that fired their coach, seems to be discombobulated. The players on the field during the game seem like they don't want to be there. I don't know that firing the coach is going to change all of that in 1 week. I think the Jets are in a mess right now, and the Bills are going to, if we have to play them on the road, we catching them on the right time.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Um, in that we might be catching them at the right time. To me, the problems the Bills have are systemic. They're not changing out personnel.
Mm-hmm.
They have now, they're going to have now 5 games of tape to look at and see what Brady's been trying to do. They also have two different teams that have shut it down. And the Jets have good defensive backfield and good defensive front line with that guy Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So they are also uniquely set up to do well against the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how well it'll work with you're talking about off-field issues affecting the play, and that could still be a problem for them. I have no idea.
Well, I'm thinking it's going to draw the attention away from getting prepared for this game from the coaches, and because they're not sure who's in charge, who's going to be the interim, who's doing this, who's doing that, and I think it's going to take their focus off of this coming game, and they're just going to try and they're going to try and get. They're just going to go out there, and I think they're going to fumble around. I think the Bills are going to be much more focused about getting their shit together
Yeah,
I really do.
look, you could pack your bag great, but it don't help you on the field.
I think we're going to see it though.
So we'll see.
I think we're going to see it, and I think
It's
that,
good.
and I think the Bills are going to play better. You know,
Is Milano going to be back?
no,
No. Rap going to be back? We don't know.
no, we don't.
You know, but I haven't heard anything about him.
Shakir, we don't.
We don't know. So uh, I think they're in trouble. I think they're in trouble because they're not good.
Yeah, okay.
That's,
Well,
that's,
we
that's,
may
that's
change.
it.
We might pick
Yeah.
different on this
So,
weekend. I think the Bills are going to win.
all right.
They gave up 23 points against Houston. I don't see how the Jets get to that far. 23 points. I see the Jets at 14. I see the Bills at 24. I see a good, nice, sound victory on a Monday night football game.
Oh, hold on, pause.
Oh, there goes our hurricane.
What was your score again, George?
24-14. The Bills over the Jets. The Bills get their shit going. The defense stiffens up. The Jets are not a good team, and the Bills take advantage of them on a Monday night.
I'm going to say 17-12, Jets.
The Jets, okay, all right.
We'll see. Hopefully, I am very wrong.
Yeah, we see this one totally different, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's both teams get the extra day. They don't have to deal with hurricane,
No,
so they should be ready.
they should be fine.
So
They should be
they'll
good to
probably
go.
be ready.
Yeah.
All right. Wish us luck. Hopefully, we will be here next week.
Yeah, if you next week you turn on our channel and it goes, ooh, that
Not a
means
good sign.
that's not a good sign.
All right,
All right,
everyone, go Bills.
have a good game. Go Bills.